Next up, we've got Wales versus Australia, and I'm going to take Australia here just because I'm Australian. I'm always going to do that. Realistic thought process is I don't know who wins this game because Wales still have Alan Jones out. They have Ross Moriarty out. They have a couple of players out. We have Tupou, Alatoa, Michael Hooper now as well out. Quade Cooper's not there. No Gordon Betty, no Reece Hodge still. Literally the entire team is just adjusted. Is James Slipper still playing tight end as well?
He probably will be after the performance he had last week. I don't see why they would change it now.
Yeah. So I think this would be embarrassing for Wales to lose this. Honestly, they should be favourites. They're at Principality. They've had not terrible of a tournament. But in the same sense, not a great tournament. And yeah, this will probably help their rankings. I don't look at this when we lost all our players for the tournament, I completely forgot about this tournament. I think this isn't really a showing of how Australia is, but it does show me that they're gritty even with the lack of depth. With the lack of depth, they're still showing grittiness and still showing that they're able to stick into a lot of the games. England, for example, and also against Scotland, absolutely only down by 2 there. With their full team on show. So I'll take I'm still going to take Australia here. I still think we're good enough to win this game. I'm going to take Australia to win, and we usually have very good games with Wales. It's usually quite 50-50. I'll go 24-21.
Okay.
No, 24-23. I'm going to get a 1-point game.
Oh, okay. I like it. Very close. Right. My mindset behind this one is I can't remember the last man that I've seen in that number 7 jersey who isn't called Michael Hooper. For the Wallabies.
I couldn't name him. I couldn't name him.
So it's going to be one of those ones that, depending on who they decide to go there, I'm trying to think of who they will end up putting there, because I know Pete Samu's more of a specialist 6. Then they've also got Valentini. He would rather be at 8, I believe. So trying to think through their squad, trying to think of who they would have there. Lockie Swinton, he's also a 6. No one really contests for that number 7 jersey, because Michael Hooper normally has it pretty locked down. But
Pete Samu.
Pete Samu does play a bit of 7.
Pete Samu replaced Hooper in the Wallabies loss to England.
Okay, so he did actually get a little bit of game time at 7. So I think he will get to start this one in the 7 jersey. He's a very good player, Pete Samu, but he's not quite Michael Hooper. So I'm going to say that Wales win this game. I think it's going to be close, like you mentioned. I think I'm actually going to say it will be sitting at 19-19 right up until the last 10 minutes, and then Wales end up winning this game 29 points to 19.
So they score a try and a penalty.
Yeah, they'll get the penalty first, and then they get the try.
That wouldn't surprise me. I'll take a close loss, though. I will. I'm always going to back in the Aussies, and I'm going to tell you if I believe we can lose, and we can absolutely lose this game. We realistically should be losing this game. I think if we win this game, this has actually been a relatively successful Northern Hemisphere tour without the wins. Even if we lose this by less than 3, I would, as an actual person who watches these games more than just a casual viewer, will say this was a successful tournament because we only lost by 2 to Scotland at Scotland with a whole heap of players out. We realistically lost to England we still lost by a decent margin, but overall, we were very competitive for 70 to 75 minutes of that game before getting blown out. I'd probably say 70. And then I would say if we lost by less than 5 here or less than a try to Wales, I would say this has actually been and the word relatively is capitalised and in bold here, but I would say relatively successful tournament. So I'm taking Australia here. I think we're a good chance, even with all these players out. And if we win, that's a miracle. And if we lose, it's expected, as long as we don't lose big, because that Michael Hooper loss is absolutely massive there. But big game here, France versus New Zealand.